This is the card I randomly picked off my deck of mixed TNG and TOS cards from the 90s, and this is the one I get. This episode. This does not stand the test of time. It should not have stood the test of the time it was produced in. It does not age well. It is downright insulting to humans overall. It is Shatner. His performance as a woman, wow, I suppose is the general takeaway. I feel like the whole performance was an extended version of when he has the pain belt on during Spock's brain, and they push the button, and he does this. I feel like the whole hour as Janice Lester was a version of that. This. Just now, if you want to, God, can we defend this episode? If you want to look at the episode as a study into someone with a mental illness, I suppose there. And the more I do this show, the more talking to myself, the more I'm seeing kind of a pattern of a lot of mental illness-themed TOS episodes. Garth of Izar. The early one with... they did a South Park on it. The original Book of the Word. The Compendium from 1989. Going up to Star Trek V. That is the year that I bought this. So I'm just thinking about the mental illness episodes. Yeah, that deserves its own Dagger of the Mind, is the one I was trying to get to. That's where it begins. But it certainly doesn't end there. And the entire series ends on this problematic episode indeed. Now, the original compendium doesn't address much about the show, because this is the last episode. Most of the space is given with that. But I got to go back to Cushman's These Are the Voyages, and that deserves a better deep dive. But, plug for my 1989 compendium issue that I've had all this time. Ooh, featuring, although, it's... featuring Star Trek V material. Ooh. I already did my Star Trek V mini show. I have more to say about Star Trek V. But that's Turnabout Intruder. Does that feel like I'm already doing 5 minutes on this alone? Should we have another? These cards are taking over from the trivia the more I get into just introducing the small shows with the cards. I'm wondering where the headspace is going to go now. This is getting away from a springboard, and we're just getting into these episodes. The mutiny stuff is just off the rails. It is off the rails. But we do get to see Scotty in a kilt, right? If not in this episode, then another. Oh, we saw that in. Now I'm going to keep going. I already have to trim some of this. So we see the Scotty kilt in the Abraham Lincoln episode. We see a lot going on in the Abraham Lincoln episode. But why can't I remember the name of the Abraham Lincoln episode? I got to stumble on it soon, right? Empath, World is Hollow, Plato's Stepchildren. There's that whole show's makes you crazy. All right, so I Feel Bad, Savage Curtain, Abraham Lincoln show. I digress. Well, haven't I? All these are digressions. That's the whole point of this. It's not like I have work to do, right? I should be doing some stuff. I've been taking it. That's all right, so that's the troublesome reality of Turnabout Intruder. Let's use this as a background while we read some cards. So yeah, I got to pick a card. We're doing this. We're still back in TOS. We're going back to these. So this is it's a card with the TOS tricorder on it. I don't ever recall an episode that the medical diagnostics was seen inside a tricorder. But maybe I'm wrong, so let's assume this is McCoy's tricorder. I'm sure there was an episode where they did a cut like this, but nothing comes to mind when I think of it. So let's see where we go today. All right. So yeah, the first thing that did come to mind is City on the Edge of Forever, because that's where we see the shot of a tricorder like this. The only thing that's problematic is we don't see the medical scanner in it. All right, this just messes up the autofocus. I got to take this away. We don't necessarily see that, so I'm guessing these are just going to be computer-related questions, beginning with City on the Edge of Forever. I don't know. So Spock created a mnemonic memory circuit. What did this device do? Well, here's the thing that gets missed. So he needed to create the mnemonic memory circuit out of stone, knives, and bearskin. A line that then is repeated in the Voyager episode where they go back to 1995 and meet Ed Begley Jr. He needed that because, and here's how we thought computers worked. You needed to network your mini computer with a larger computer to access what's in your mini. It's like, I guess the equivalent would be, at this time, and this is where it maybe goes off the rails. So the tricorder in City on the Edge of Forever was the equivalent of this flash drive, but somehow the flash, or well, I don't know why I'm doing a bigger lesson on this. So I can't access my phone. The phone is not enough to access the data. I don't know why. So the phone needs to be hooked up to a larger computer so I can download the stuff. So that's what we're looking for here. So I have some photos on my phone, and I want them on the computer, but I'm in the 1930s, and I don't have access to a computer, so I can't see my photos, say nothing of putting them on my flash drive. Okay, you with me? Because Spock needs to know where in time things went askew. Because the phone is recording everything that's happening just looking at the Guardian of Forever. But it needs somewhere to download it. That's why Spock's doing his science project. That's the rationale. Doesn't quite hold any longer, does it? We can access stuff. We don't want to. I don't want to, but we can. All right. So that's what the device did. I'm sure there's simpler language to that. Let's see how it is explained in just a couple words. Didn't need to recharge the tricorder, no. We didn't need the memory to the tricorder. We needed access to the tricorder. Retrieve information from his tricorder. Yes, that's what's going on. That's all we could do. All right. Question 2. All right, so which officer would most likely carry a tricorder? So we're looking at a standard landing party complement. And if it's TOS, it's going to be captain, science officer, and medical doctor. I don't think we needed the medical doctor. As we learned in the Ultimate Computer, those are the captain and the doctor were the non-essential personnel. Which officer? Well, we had 2. We had a medical officer who needs a tricorder and a science officer needs a tricorder. That's 2. So they never not have those. So which would be most likely? Okay, I'm just going to try to assume something going outside and around the question. Let's just say science officer. In this, mercifully? No. Thank you. Okay, so they forgot all about the medical tricorder. You can't have a landing party without a medical officer because someone needs to pronounce time of death, right? Well, we do that some other time. All right, so a tricorder card. I'm liking it. I don't have the tricorder. As I've shared before on a couple shows, I have the I don't even know where I put it. So I had the communicator, but the communicator is not in reach, or it's buried, or it's buried. I just have my flippy communicator. You like that? Isn't this fun? What did I do? Get back here. What? This is crazy. What's going on? The world is... Something's not right here, folks. Okay, let's get through these questions and see if my computer doesn't explode. All right, well, I've touched on this in many around. The Gorn attacked Cestus 3. This is like the 5th reference of Cestus 3 when I go through these trivia cards. Okay? The Gorn attack on Cestus 3, and as we know, the rocks are not on Cestus 3. That's another unknown planet. But yes, they overload Spock's tricorder and it becomes like a pineapple hand grenade. So he has to toss it and it blows up. We don't see that happen a lot in Trek, but that's the occasion that it happens. It reminds me of a really horrible movie I just watched on Hulu a few weeks ago called like Mother Android. Horrible movie. It was so... I'm sure someone out there would enjoy it. It was a suffocating movie from me as my optimistic self. But I think one of the beats is once the androids take over and just, kill people indiscriminately, I think they blow up their cell phones. It's just like what the Gorn were doing here. All right. Now, Capella... Okay, so we know these other places, too. Camus 2 is from Turnabout Intruder. Look at the synchronicity of how it all comes together here. That's the planet in Turnabout Intruder. And Capella 4 is one of my favorite TOS episodes. 2nd season, Friday's Child. I will have to share my joy of Friday's Child in its own episode one of these days. What functions did a tricorder perform for members of the original crew? The same function as any crew? You could analyze... It's a tricorder, right? What are you talking about? What functions? I'm stumped here. A tricorder... This is like, what does a tricorder do question. It can analyze whatever is around you. What's the surface condition? What's the atmosphere like? Is this person dead? What are you picking up? Are there some particular readings? It's a scientific device to gauge whatever is happening scientifically. Okay. Oh, okay. That's how my brain works. Yeah, it's a sensor, a recorder, and a computer. But not a computer that needs another computer for it to really compute, because it doesn't. That's the problem there. Who designed and built the tricorder? Oh, damn. I mean, are they just looking for Roddenberry here? I don't think he designed and built it. It wasn't Jeffries. There's one other whose name escapes me, and I feel bad about it. Maybe it'll come up in the choices, but I mean, Matt Jeffries is my default because he did so much of the design work. I don't know if he really worked on the props, though. He worked on the sets and the designs. So let's just learn something. It wasn't Jeffries. Yes, this is what I was trying to get to. Yes, and there. So it's Chang. I have to do more research on that. What else did he? So he did all. Well, who did the salt shakers for the medical devices too? So is it Wah Chang as well? But there we go. Great. So we learned about tricorders, and I waxed on the difficulties of this, and I brought in the compendium and my own phone. So I have to get all these objects to create the thumbnail for this episode, and that's my day. Go have one.